you a glass half empty or glass half full kind of person? Do you see a challenge as a negative and hardships as the end of the world? Are you living your best life or living the best that you can? Is positivity something we are or become? Welcome to the Chrissy B Show, the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. And today we're talking about the power of positivity. And exploring the psychological ins and outs of this is Dr. Audrey Tang. Helena Chard is here to lift our spirits with the latest in feel-good news, and resident nutritionist Lily Soutter talks about how food can help boost your mood. Real life story guest Katia Bell tells us how she overcame crippling mental issues through the power of positivity. We've also got Autism correspondent Anna Kennedy telling us what she's been up to, and she's also bringing on magician Angus Baskerville, who will be putting on a great magic trick, and at the end of the show I will be giving you some tips on how you can be more positive. Being positive is more than having an optimistic view on things. According to the Mayo Clinic, simply being self-positive has long-lasting benefits to both your mental and physical health, as well as your well-being. It also states that positive thinking doesn't mean that you ignore life's less pleasant situations, but instead that you approach unpleasantness in a productive way. People who approach things in this way are more capable of handling stress efficiently than those who are less so. But can positivity be taught and learnt? Well, according to Psychology Today, positive psychology is the study of happiness and focuses less on mental health dysfunctions and more on how to live life fully. That being said, what do you on Twitter think? Jaden is preaching some truth. He says, being positive attracts positivity. So true. Hannah says, positivity is key. Ricky's been insightful. He says, now more than ever before, it's important to end each and every day with positivity. Even if it's difficult, even if it seems impossible to do so. Think of all your blessings and the people you love. Remember what it is and who it is you fight for. Sweet dreams. Good night. World Changing Women says, positivity is a choice. And the Don isn't taking any negativity, saying, please do not come around me with negative vibes. I love people and I love life, peace, love and positivity. So some very interesting thoughts there. But what does our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang, have to say about the power of positivity? Well, here she is. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
So, Audrey, is there a difference between positive psychology and just being positive?
Yes, there is. Positive psychology is a whole field of psychology all by itself. It has its own association, and to give a bit of background, it started really taking off when Martin Seligman became the president of the American Psychological Association. What he said, and this was in the 80s, was that psychology is half-baked. In other words, all we do is we look at mental illness and how to become normal or normalised. What we don't look at is living with a diagnosis, managing that diagnosis, being resilient, being happy, being empowered. And he said there's a whole field that we do need to look at, because how do we get information on somebody who has the most horrible diagnosis in the world but is able to stay positive? And that's how positive psychology came about. It is a whole area by itself, and so it's got its own views, its own approaches, and positivity is sort of it's a word used in the mainstream. It's slightly different.
Now, but is it good actually for a person to always be positive, or should some negativity come into things as well?
That's a very good question. The whole thing about positivity is I feel it's been so mainstreamed, it's been overused a little bit. It's always a bit, let's be positive, let's think positive. And actually that gives rise to the sort of Pollyanna quality. It's a story about a girl who, despite having quite a difficult upbringing, she did something called things to be glad about. She'd find something to be glad about every day, and that's great. However, if you just continue to be positive and positive and positive and just tell everyone, oh, it'll get better, it'll work out, then actually you do risk having quite a superficial relationship with people, because it might be if a child comes to say to you, oh, so-and-so doesn't want to be my friend anymore, and then you say, probably quite understandably, oh, don't worry, tomorrow it'll all be over. And it probably will be, realistically, but that child can feel, my feelings aren't being acknowledged here. So that can be a problem. Also, if we are always positive, we are not not always realistic. And if we just think positively, what can happen is that we can allow ourselves to be brought into situations which we could have changed if we thought a bit more realistically about them.
I get you.
So I wouldn't necessarily say be negative, but be real about things. Another thing that worries me about too much positivity is it gives rise to all of these feelings such as, oh, I'm a positive person, so even if I'm breaking inside, I will still help you. And actually, if you're breaking inside, you do not want to be helping other people, because if you do, it's almost like somebody jumping into a river who cannot swim. You're going to make the situation worse. The strongest people, the most positive people that positive psychology would identify would be those people who say, I'm not okay at the moment, but that's okay. I can get help. I know who to turn to. I can get support.
Okay, brilliant. And for people that maybe are kind of naturally pessimistic, what could they do to be a bit more positive? Actually, for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. There's a lovely tip I heard on the psychology podcast the other day. What you can do is 24 hours of negativity. And what this is it doesn't work for everything, because obviously things like grief, that takes a much longer process. But if it's a setback, you know, you maybe didn't get the promotion you wanted or whatever that might be, you're allowed that 24 hours of, if you want to eat junk food, if you want to be upset, if you want to rant about it, allow yourself that time, but don't wallow in it. So after the 24 hours, then think, well, what can I do now? What action can I take? How can I progress? How can I move forward? So that's one thing that's really good. Another thing will actually be look after yourself. Eat properly, exercise well, because all of that makes a huge difference. Hang around with the right people. There are some people who are very negative, very toxic, and that doesn't help you, because they will be the people who might dismiss your dreams, dismiss your ambitions, and actually thinking about opportunities, thinking about how you can grow is really important. So be aware that people can bring you down. Definitely. And the last piece of advice I would say is know the difference between likability and status. Status is given to you by other people. So when you post something on social media and you get all those likes, that's more status. But if you actually spend time making connections with people, being a nice person, being a good person, that's a lot more fulfilling. And that will give you that inward positivity rather than the outward one, which is not quite so lasting.
Audrey, thank you so much. And we shall see you again next week.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, all this talk about being more positive is not going to be complete without our healthy dose of weekly feel-good news from our very own Helena Chard in A Helping of Happy. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Always a pleasure, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you on again, Helena. What positive news do you have for us today?
Well, I just wanted to say again, I love doing my news spot.
I know you do.
Very much, because
amazing.
You know, this positive news is just so what we need.
Yes.
And the media always has an influence, and there's so much negativity that these positive things keep us going, well-being.
People will always find positive news on this programme, won't they?
Absolutely. And I know we have to mix it slightly.
Yes.
It has to be a bit of a balance, but you know, we give lots, and I love it. Positive news inspires and brings people together.
Brilliant.
So I've got some news. I mean, it's positive news, so just little snippets of what I think are inspiring stories. Beginning with, actually there's a gym called Lifetime Fitness in the States, and they have said the same thing. They're realising more and more that the constant negativity in mainstream is damaging and not good for health. So they've decided to switch off all the main stations, cable networks actually in the gym.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
And it's tuned into our show.
I know, in 128 locations as well. So CNN, Fox News, all these big stations switched off, because obviously the ethos of their whole thing is wellness and well-being. Which I think actually is great, and obviously it's family orientated too, so that's good. I think people can still use their Wi-Fi and do it personally.
Yeah.
Obviously take it off the big screen. So I was really pleased to hear that.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Good for them. So a bit of a gym theme in a sense with a few of my stories. It's been because they always say January blues, don't they? Is there truth in it? Possibly yes.
February blues.
Yeah. But anyway, so on a positive. A great picture went viral recently, and it was a fabulous story. It's a Syrian refugee child was spotted looking longingly in a gym through a window, watching everyone work out. Just 12 years old, Mohammed Khaled, and he's a shoe shiner. This was just the other day, and he was wearing slippers. He didn't even have proper shoes.
Oh, wow.
And he was spotted because someone sent the picture viral, and the gym owner, Engin Dogan, this is in Turkey, did everything to find him, because he also came from nothing to begin with and wanted to give this boy a chance. And now it's, again, it's gone viral. He found him, he gave him lifetime membership.
Oh,
the boy's really thrilled
nice.
because he also wanted to work out to lose a bit of weight.
Yeah.
So such a positive little story, isn't it?
lovely.
Feel good story. And also something else we've spoken about before, which is do good when getting fit. We have spoken about it before, but sort of I'm not sure whether it's called Good Gym. And it helps you get fit by doing good. And it's a group of runners. It's a group of runners that combine regular exercise by helping the communities. So everyone gets sweaty and runs around, still gets fit, and the feel-good buzz, but doing physical tasks within the communities and sort of helping out the elderly do things.
That is a good idea.
I think it's amazing. And The Guardian actually said, the Good Gym offers an imaginative alternative to conventional gyms, which I think, because if you think you can be in the gym for an hour just on a bike or,
it's true.
And another inspirational story that I think is really good. Again, it's just an innovative idea, I think. So Sake Kobashi, who's 33, lives in Tokyo, has got her own restaurant there. She's a one-man band, so she's on her own, obviously cooking for everyone coming in, so that's pretty hard going. But, good idea. One of her things in life is that she wants people to be able to eat in the restaurant, people that can't really afford a proper meal out. So she came up with the idea that if anyone came in that couldn't afford it, they would have to work for her for 50 minutes and they'd get a free meal.
God, that's so clever.
So obviously they'd be doing washing up, cleaning tables and anything that was needed, which obviously give her labour, and they'd get a meal, which is amazing. And obviously she's doing good. But not just that, people can actually work for 50 minutes and get maybe a coupon and give the meal to someone else. But so far she's fed 500 people so far, and it's something that she wants to keep going.
It's a good idea. If it's legal, I don't even know if it's legal, but anyway.
Well, it's in Tokyo, and
so maybe it is there.
Her restaurant's called Mira Shakudu, which translates as Future Eatery, which I think is very nice.
That's nice. That's lovely.
It's lovely. One celebrity-based one, Madonna. She helped build schools in Malawi, I think 10, but what's good about her, a positive thing, which there's lots good about her obviously, is she's now said that she's going to build 4 new schools again, which is great. And the thing is that she doesn't just hand over a cheque like a lot of people, and they were sort of reporting on it, that she actually really, really cares. So she's there every day. And what she's doing is she's helping the people that live there to help themselves. So she genuinely cares. So that's good really for her. Nice. I was really pleased. She's a tough, smart cookie, isn't she, really? She is. So Pret a Manger, giving 50 pence off hot drinks as long as you bring in your own cup, which I think is very clever. Obviously plastic ends up in the sea, it's waste, it's a real problem. It's killing our wildlife, and it actually enters into the food chain afterwards. And I can't believe that it's estimated 2.5 billion coffee cups every year, which is almost 5,000 a minute.
Wow.
And you can't do anything because they're plastic. So it's a real problem. And it was on Blue Planet, BBC. I know you like Blue
I've been watching,
which is good. And I'm going to finish off on a funny one. A dog, a lovely little dog, a family dog, has been hired as the official post office stamp licker.
Oh.
Now, what it's done is it's... So the whole idea is it's in a Scottish seaside village in a Portree. The owner, Ray Chandler, who owns the post office, wanted to bring a bit of fun into the office, and it has made such a difference because everyone loves the dog, who's called Jax, and it's really lightened everything up. So people actually come in to say hello and cuddle the dog and give treats. So not just it's built a nice little community. So it's just a nice little feel-good story to end with.
People's going to be getting their dogs now. Helena, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next week.
Good to look forward to it.
Thank you. Well, everyone, don't go away, because after the break, we talk to autism correspondent Anna Kennedy about her latest endeavours, along with her guest magician Angus Baskerville. But first, which is better? The glass being A, half empty, B, half full, C, neither, or D, both. Do you think you know the answer? Find out if you're right after this break. to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your programme for all things mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, we asked you which is better, seeing the glass half empty, B, half full, C, neither, or D, both. The answer, according to the Huffington Post, it's D. Being a little bit of both, otherwise known as being a realistic optimist, allows one to have the same positivity you would have from an optimist, making you more resilient and productive. And the cynicism allows for viewing a situation more completely. So let's see if you got the right answer there. Now, here with us to tell us about all the wonderful things she's been up to with the autism community is our correspondent, Anna Kennedy. And joining her is magician Angus Baskerville. Hello, both.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Lovely to have you both on the programme. It's lovely to see you. Now, Angus, I know you are very, very talented. We're going to speak to you in just a moment. But first of all, let's speak to Anna to see what she's been up to and what's to come, right?
Well, it's been very busy, and what we've done is, because 2017 was so busy, what we like to do is to share with all of our followers, people who've supported us, what we've been doing throughout the year.
Okay.
So our lovely Ryan, who's our young charity patron, created a highlights video. So are we hoping that we can share it with everyone?
Yes, let's take a look at that now, and then we'll come back and speak to you more. Wow, Anna, that was so amazing. Really busy last year, wasn't it?
It was, and it was so exciting, and lots of different things happening, lots of families making contact with each other and friends being formed. It's not just the shows, it's what happens behind the scenes that's important as well.
Okay, and what's new?
What's new is today I've been looking at all of the entries for Autumn's Got Talent 2018. And it's been so hard to try and choose who we want. We've still got a few more to look at, but it's so exciting. And we've had so many entries from America. So we're going global. So that's exciting. We're also, the roadshow is now going to St Ives. If you remember, before Christmas I said there was something that I was working on. So Phil, who was on People Strictly with me, he's based in St Ives, and we've always chatted about doing something together. So we're going to be working on Autumn's Got Talent Roadshow in St Ives. So that's really exciting.
Brilliant. Well done.
So again, we're going to Merseyside in November, and I am now part of the first women's radio station.
So, I've been seeing your tweets and your Instagram.
There's 30 women who got together, and we're going to be, it's already launched actually, the women's radio station, so that's exciting. So that's
brilliant.
Once a month. So maybe I can interview you.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
We can talk about mental health and different issues. So yeah, so excited about that as well.
Yeah.
And over the Christmas period,
it's only the beginning of the year. Have you noticed? She's got all this stuff. Angus, you know her, I know she's always on the go.
Yeah. So I'm patron of UK Charity Week, and we were contacted. I just wanted to talk to you about the power of social media and how it can make positive things happen. So this gentleman, the family contacted us, and sadly this gentleman hasn't got long to live. And his dream was to drive in a supercar. So we're talking about Maseratis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. So we put a tweet out, and the response was amazing. Like 3 days solid, I could have opened a showroom full of supercars. Wow. So Lee, who's the founder, and I, we were so excited to let them know that we've got lots of supercars for him to ride in. Brilliant. So what we did was we went to Peterborough Football Club, and do you know what the exciting bit was? All 10 cars coming around the corner. The vroom, they were coming, we were getting excited, and they were all lined up, and he had a ride in every single car. It was amazing. It was emotional, exciting, a bit of every sort of feeling, if you know what I mean. And his family was so happy for him that he finally, got his dream come true. But it just shows you the power of social media, and people can still be very kind.
Brilliant, yes, definitely.
So that was great.
Now, Anna, tell us about this amazing young man here next to you.
So Angus is an amazing magician, and I met Angus in 2016, and it was Autumn's Got Talent. I get to meet the best people at Autumn's Got Talent, and Angus auditioned for us, and I just thought he's got to be part of Autumn's Got Talent. And since then he's been supporting the charity, and he's been going to various different events, showing his magic tricks to celebrities like Melanie Sykes and Robin, my dance partner, and they've just been wowed by him. So I brought him along today so he can wow you.
Okay. Now, Angus, how long have you been doing magic tricks?
4 years now.
4 years. And how did you get into it in the first place?
Well, I always had an interest in magic. Like, I used to go to other parties that had magicians. I was given the odd kid's magic set for Christmas. And also I had a magician for my 6th birthday party once as well. Okay. And we're at these friends of ours' caravan, and these boys there showed me this basic card trick that I liked so much, and I went and started showing it to everyone. Yeah. Then I started getting really interested in it, and my parents for my 18th birthday bought me a beginner's magic course at the famous Davenport's in London. Wow. And that's where it all kicked off, and I really started doing well.
What do you love about it?
Well, I love being able to blow people's minds. I feel my autism has really helped me perfect it, and to go and perform at places and have everyone saying how much they love it, and that you've really blown their mind. It's an amazing feeling. Okay, well, I'm ready to have my mind blown. So can you share some of your tricks? Sure. Okay, let's start then. Well, to begin with tonight, I'm going to get 2 cards chosen. One by choice and one by chance. Okay. So as you can see here, we have 2 decks of cards. We have a blue deck and we have a red deck. Would you point to one for me, blue or red? I'll try the blue. The blue. Perfect. So this is the deck we will start with. Now, Anna, I would like you to choose a card by choice. But before you do that, I'm going to share a story with you. Okay. Last night, I had a dream about a single playing card. And when I woke up in the morning, this deck of cards was by my bed. Okay. So I'm going to need you to have a guess of which card you think I dreamt about. Think about a deck of cards, maybe change your mind a few times, whichever card pops into your mind that really feels right. Think of that card. Okay. Let me know when you've got it. I've got it. You've got it. Which card do you think I dreamt about last night? The Ace of Hearts. Ace of Hearts. Indeed, you have a really strong imagination, because that is correct, so that's the card I dreamt about. Really? Yeah. I can show me? Yeah, I understand you probably don't believe me. So I can prove it to you, because I did place the card I dreamt about inside this pack, but reversed before I came on the show. If we open up the pack, just like this, okay, will spread through, okay? And what I need you to do is have a look and see if you can see any card that's reversed, okay? Okay. Okay, do you by any chance see a card that's reversed inside the pack?
I do.
Do you see it? Would you like to take it out?
In the centre, yeah.
Yep. Take it out, show it to everyone. These are the jokers, by the way.
Wow.
Ace of
You
Hearts.
did it.
I told you it was amazing.
No. Well done.
Well done, that young man.
Thank you.
And he's not going to tell us how we did it, obviously.
No.
You don't tell your secrets,
Yeah,
do you?
that's one rule in magic, never reveal your secrets.
Okay.
Okay, now come back to you. You chose the blue deck, and we had a card chosen by choice with that deck, and that was the deck we started with. But we also have a red deck over there, which we are going to get a card chosen by chance using. So for you, if you could help me with that, I'll show you these cards. I'm going to need you to choose a card freely, but in order to do that, to make this fair, I'm going to let you choose any number, let's say between 1 and 52, as that's how many cards are in a pack. So could you name a number for me?
10.
10. Now after my show tonight, you might come and say to me, what would have happened if I'd chosen a different number? So I'm going to give you the chance now, if you'd like to stick with 10, or change your mind and choose any other number between 1 and 52.
I'll stick to 10.
Stick to 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we reveal the card, I'll just shuffle the pack up first, just to make this as fair as I possibly can.
Okay.
Okay, does that look fair enough?
Yes.
Perfect. Now this is what I need you to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, would you be able to do that for me?
Yes.
Once again, if I do it, people might accuse me of doing sleight of hand or something. So I'm going to let you do the counting.
Okay.
So please deal 10 cards down. Place the 10th card over there in front of you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, perfect. Now this is the 10th card down.
Yep.
Now the card you've chosen are 4 of hearts. If you'd chosen 9 though, you would have had Jack of clubs. If you'd chosen 8, you would have had King of spades. And so on, you get the idea. But you chose the 4 of hearts. Now, there's many 4 of hearts inside every deck of cards. But to make this the only 4 of hearts in the whole world that exists, I'm going to tear the corner off, just so you know that it's your 4 of hearts and it's the only one in the world that exists. Would you hold on to that for me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take the deck back. I'll clear that up in a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to eat this corner piece.
You're going to eat it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, as well. Okay.
I'll put this away.
Do you need some water?
Don't get any ideas.
I won't eat this one.
Oh no.
Wow, he's actually eating it, guys.
All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Okay. Now I've swallowed it now. Now it must have gone somewhere. I won't go into too much detail, but if it has gone somewhere, it would be impressive if I made it appear inside an impossible location. Now, how many of you have noticed that sweet bag over there, which has been in view the whole time? I've not touched it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if I open up the sweet bag, do you tell me, what do you see inside of here?
Sweets?
Sweets.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of people would call these flying saucers, which is sweets, to be fair. I'm going to need you to select one for me. So, could you kindly take out any flying saucer you like?
This one?
Okay, is that the one you want?
Yes.
Okay, would you kindly just break it? Just break it in. Just break it. Yeah. See if something's inside it. What's inside
You're
it?
joking. That's amazing.
Yeah. Is it a?
Oh
is it a
my
card?
goodness.
Okay, could you hand that to me?
Yes.
Now, it's impressive that the corner piece that was inside the flying saucer is the 4 of hearts, and that was the card you chose. But what's even more impressive is that this is actually the matching piece.
It
if
is
you look
exactly.
closely.
Oh my goodness.
Can you see that? Matches the card
That's
perfectly.
amazing.
Are you wowed?
Thank you very much.
Of course I'm wowed. That's
Perfect.
amazing.
Match.
I told you it was good.
Wow. Well done. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gobsmacked, guys. I really am. Angus, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
Ella,
having me.
amazing.
I know, it's just like the more I see him, the more confident he is, and he's just
Yeah.
like, the tricks are just getting more complicated, and you just think,
Wow.
how did he do that?
Wow, that's brilliant. Angus, what about the future for you? What do you want to do?
I definitely hope to do this full time in the future. My dream is to get an agent and be part of the main magic circle and really be successful in this in the future. Maybe go maybe do loads of stage work, have my own show. my dream is definitely to be really successful in the magic world in the future.
Let me see you having your own show. Definitely.
Yeah, anyone listening?
Yes, here he is.
Chrissy B Show.
Grab the talent while you can. Brilliant. It was lovely meeting you, Angus. Thank you so much. And I will see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Any last words you'd like to say before we go?
There was one thing I forgot to promote.
Yes, go. Go.
We've got our Autism Expo, which is in March. So if there's parents out there that might have just had their children or adults diagnosed, they want to find out a little bit more information. So there's free clinics. You can speak to speech and language therapists. You can speak to my husband, who can give you legal advice. And we've got speakers. And it's just mums and dads together sharing information and networking. So if you're interested, it's all on the charity website.
Brilliant.
And it's March the 10th.
Okay, what's the charity website?
It's www.annakennedy.online.com.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much both, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, and if you would like a chance to perform on the show, all you have to do is email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Now don't go away, because after the break we talk to resident nutritionist Lily Soutter on how to use food to keep our positive mood, and she'll also be answering your nutritional questions such as this one: what is carb cycling and is it effective? Find out the answer after this break. I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the program that looks after your mental health and well-being. So now we have with us our lovely nutritionist, Lily Soutter. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hi.
So we're talking about positivity today. So why is food so important, or the right food, to lift people's mood?
I think one of the things when it comes to nutrition really is to focus on all the great, wonderful foods that you can include within your diet. And I think that's really, looking at positive nutrition. There are there's a lot of marketing hype out there around sort of quick detoxes and fad diets and crash diets, and about huge restriction as well, in terms of maybe even excluding whole food groups, which isn't always like a massively positive thing. And I think, when it comes to nutrition, small sustainable changes, healthy changes, can make a huge long-term impact, rather than excluding lots of foods from the diet. And a big thing which I talk to with my clients about is creating healthy, positive habits for life. And just focusing on maybe one great sort of self-improvement or one kind of health promoting habit that they can include. For example, it could be as simple as just having more fruit within the diet. And if they do that on sort of a daily basis, in response to a cue, so they could have a piece of fruit, say, every time after they've had breakfast, which is their cue, will just remind them to keep doing that. And I think the research roughly is around sort of 10 to 17 weeks. It's different from person to person when they develop a habit. And once you've got that habit, it's automatic, it's sort of effortless. You don't need a huge amount of motivation to follow through with it. And as I was saying, small changes make big positive impacts long term. So something as small as having more fruit or more veg within the diet could make a big long term impact.
And it's realistic as well, isn't it? To do
absolutely. Mindful eating is another area which I think is also really important to look at. Again, with diet, it's not sort of looking at the negative bits of the diet. It's not excluding anything from the diet. Everything is on board. It's just more focusing on the way that you eat. So a lot of people eat very quickly, or they are distracted by their TVs, their phones, their laptops, and you don't really get full satisfaction and enjoyment from your food in that case. Mindful eating is very much about sort of being in the present moment when you're eating, focusing on the flavors, the textures, the colors, and it really can help to regulate hunger and fullness cues, which may help sort of to prevent some people from overeating. So nothing's really off limits, but I think the top tips that I give my clients when they're trying to eat more mindfully is number one, just slow down when you eat, like put your knife and fork down between each mouthful. And then chew thoroughly, not enough people chew enough. And again, noticing the flavours, the textures, everything about that food. And then away from the TV, laptops, phones, we can get through, a big one, isn't it? Yeah, like a big box of popcorn and not even notice whether they're actually even stale or not, you know, just because we're mindlessly eating. And then you feel more satisfied and you get a lot more positive enjoyment from the food you eat.
Brilliant. So what we're going to be making today, Lily?
So we're going to be making some whole grain toast with some almond butter. And then we're also going to be having a very quick, literally, I think it's even less than 5-minute chia jam.
Okay, wow.
First of all, we make the chia jam, which is very, very quick. Usually they take a long time, but you can literally make it that morning when you're having breakfast. And you just put some chia seeds in the bowl. And then you can use any sort of red fruit juice, so it could be cranberry, strawberry, it could be anything, just something which is
grape would be nice.
Yeah, anything which is a red fruit juice. So it's great because you're not adding lots of tons of sort of refined sugar in here as well.
Okay.
And then you literally just keep stirring. And you kind of let it set for a couple of minutes. Because what happens is the chia seeds are a very, very rich source of fibre, and they almost sort of soak up the water and turn into a gel-like consistency. And then to give it a little bit more redness, it doesn't sound that nice, but it does taste really nice, is to add a bit of beetroot powder.
So all natural stuff, which is really
all
good.
natural, and then you stir it in, and gradually it will set. I'll just add a few more chia seeds in there. And this jam is really amazing because it's really, really rich in fibre, and actually in the UK we're not currently consuming enough fibre. We're having about half of what we should be having. And gradually you can just feel it's getting thicker and thicker.
And it will eventually, this is one that you made earlier?
Yeah, and eventually, just in about 2 or 3 minutes time, it becomes like that, and it gets thicker and thicker, and it actually sets into a jam, which is amazing.
Wow. And it looks amazing, it smells lovely as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very rich in antioxidants, which is that sort of...
put it on our toast?
Yeah, bright red colour. And first of all, we put the almond butter on. So this is going to add some protein and healthy fats.
Such a lovely healthy snack, you know, not that nasty sugar that you get in normally.
Absolutely. And you can sort of have it for breakfast or as a snack. Sorry. And then we put a bit of, that's already got very thick.
It's already getting thick, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And quite a generous portion of chia jam there.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to try. You know, I'm not going to do that in front of everybody because I'll get chia seeds stuck in my teeth and I can't smile. So I will definitely be trying that during the break.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And then you can put anything else on top of that. You can put some coconut, you can put some pistachio.
Love it. Definitely try that one. All right.
Yeah, it's just a good alternative with less sugar.
Amazing. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got a few questions as well from our viewers. Lily, are you ready?
Yeah.
So the first person is asking, what is carb cycling and is it effective?
So carb cycling is obviously quite a fancy word, which not many people really know what it means. And all it means is just some days you consume more carbs and then other days you actually consume less carbs. And the theory behind it is that on sort of certain days where you're consuming more or less carbs, it will actually help to like aid with weight loss and maybe help with toning up or with muscle growth. When you actually delve into the research, there isn't loads of research directly linking carb cycling with supporting any of these factors, whether it's weight loss or even muscle growth. So it's not saying it's, you know, you shouldn't be doing it. Everybody's very individual, but from the research, it's not hugely strong. And I wouldn't say it's something I would often recommend to clients to do. So I don't think we need to worry too much about it.
All right, okay, brilliant. Next question. Why does cheese affect my dreaming? I've recently been eating cheese before bed and have been having some mad, wild dreams. Is this just a cheese thing, or does this also happen with other foods?
I think it's more of a bit of a myth. Other people have actually asked me about cheese and dreaming. It's probably more of a coincidence that happening.
Yeah.
And you know, there isn't any research on linking cheese with sort of nightmares or vivid dreaming. There is a theory that aged cheeses, sort of like aged Stilton, has more tyrosine in, which is sort of a component which is thought to have excitatory factors in the brain.
Okay.
But that's just a theory. We don't know whether there's a direct link there with vivid dreaming.
Brilliant. Lily, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
And we shall see you again next time. Thank you. Well, everybody, don't go away, because after the break we have real life story guest Katia Bell telling us how she overcame her mental health issues through the use of positivity. And I'll also be giving you some tips on how to be more positive. But first, is this true or false? Optimism is linked to longevity. Find out the answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we've been talking all about positivity. Now, before the break, I asked you if this was true or false. Optimism is linked to longevity. The answer is true. According to the Harvard Medical Journal, being optimistic has been known to improve health and wellness, as well as having other benefits. Well, now it's time for my next guest, Katia Bell, who's here to talk about how positivity helped her with her mental health journey. Welcome to the show, Katia.
Thank you for having me.
It's lovely to have you on, and thank you for coming on to talk about, you know, some personal things about your life, but you're doing this obviously to help raise awareness.
Of course, yes.
Brilliant. So can you tell us when your mental health problems started?
So it was around 14 when I got my diagnosis. I started recognising quite a few symptoms around 13 years. It was about a year before it really got to a point where I had to go to the doctors because it was getting quite severe.
What kind of symptoms are you talking about?
I didn't want to go to school. I closed myself off from my friends and my family. I felt hopeless. I didn't want to go out. I lost interest in, I loved to sing and things like that, and just didn't want to do any of that at all. And then it got to a point where I was really starting to, I think when you're in that place, you begin to kind of, especially at a young age, you don't understand those feelings, and you don't understand how to deal with them either. So it put me in a position where I didn't really know what to do, and it resulted in self-harm and things like that. And at that point, I went to the doctors and I was diagnosed, and that was when I was 14 years old.
Okay, and had your parents realised something before this, or was it just when you told them that they knew something?
It was when I told them about my self-harming, and they'd taken me to the doctors, and it went from there, really.
So you hid it quite well than what you were going through?
Yeah. I think as well, at a sensitive age of being a teenager, your parents are more likely to be like, oh, well, she's just going through it, really. And it could be overlooked in some senses, but it got to a point with me where obviously I had been self-harming, so that was, alarm bells started ringing there, really.
Okay. What would you say was your lowest moment in all of this?
Throughout all of it, or just when I was... I remember taking an overdose, took about 28 pills, and I remember being sick, and nothing came of it. But the next day, I told my mum and dad, and they took me to the doctors, and the doctor sat me down and said, you know that obviously you can die from this. And they did a liver test to see if my liver had failed or anything like that. I was fine, thank God, but that was one of the lowest points, and then it sort of went up and down. I'd get a bit better, but not really recover.
Had something actually happened, that incident that led you to do that, or was it just a wave of maybe bad feelings? I think
at the time I'd been arguing with my boyfriend. I can't really remember specifically, but I just couldn't handle things in a normal way. I didn't understand how to deal with my emotions or my diagnosis. I just didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So being young, you know, you do end up doing things like that. Well, I did. I don't know if other people would. But I remember it sort of peaking and troughing throughout my teens, because I'd get to a place and then I'd think, oh, well, when you've been diagnosed with an illness that literally says you can't be happy, you kind of succumb to that. You just kind of think, well, that's it then. There's nothing I can do. And I kind of forgot that I had a choice then. I felt that choice was taken away, so I never really tried.
This is very, very important what you're saying, actually, Katia, and I want to highlight this because it's very true. People can get that diagnosis, and like you're saying, it's like, okay, this is like a death sentence.
It's like a learned helplessness situation.
And it's like, oh, okay, you can't be happy, but that's so not true.
Yeah, it's not true at all. You have to make the choice to say, no, I can be happy. It might be a bit harder than the average person, but I can be happy.
Yeah.
And now, going through everything I've been through, I feel blessed that I've been through this, because I'm more enlightened to, well, I appreciate happiness a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
And that in itself makes me happy.
Let's talk about how you actually got to that happy stage then, because you spent like most of your teenage years and, you know, younger years. We're still young actually, but going through all of this, how did you actually turn that around?
It got to a point where it was really starting to affect my life, such as my A-levels. It affected my A-levels. I had to defer a year, and then it also affected my university. The same thing happened. I finished my A-levels, went on to uni, got to Christmas and I couldn't do it because I was poorly. And I remember sitting there and thinking, surely there's more to life than this. I can't go through life being shot down in everything just because I've got this diagnosis. And I started reading into it a bit more, and I looked into self-help books, and there was a particular book that was very helpful to me about a lady who'd been a victim of acid attack, and she wrote about how she came out of that. And I remember reading the book thinking, she must have had depression, she must have had anxiety, and if she can come through that, then I can come through this.
That inspired you,
And there was so many things in that book. That there was one quote that said, you need to choose to be a survivor and not a victim. And my whole life, up to that point, I'd always been a victim because I didn't really think I had another choice. So that built a fire in me to think, I can turn this around. So I remember writing post-it notes with just little happy quotes on them and putting them around the house. I remember setting myself tiny, tiny goals, because at the time, there were days where I couldn't even get out of bed, and I'd have to get my friend to come over to physically get me out. So my goal would be, I want to get out of bed and I want to have a shower. I want to do my makeup. And step by step, I built up those goals, and it made me obviously a lot happier. I used to write down 10 things I was grateful for a day. So because 10 things is quite broad, I would look for little things, like when I'd be driving and the sun would hit me, and I'd really enjoy that moment a lot more than I normally would, because I was looking out for it for my gratefuls. So it was little things like that that built it up. I remember a few times saying mantras in my head. So I can do this, I am smart, I am intelligent, because it's the fake it till you make it sort of thing. And I remember when I was first telling myself, getting really upset and frustrated because I didn't believe it. And
you didn't feel it at the time, but then it's something that you have to continue and just believe that you'll get there.
And I think it's okay as well to sometimes just say, you know, you can't be positive all the time. You can try these techniques, but sometimes it's all right to say, I feel really rubbish today. I have got this illness, so it's understandable. I'll try again tomorrow. And that's how I've got to where I am today. I'm now.
How would you describe yourself today, would you say?
I am, well, I've started a little group on Facebook, which is called Passion for Positive. So I talk to people about these techniques and how they've helped me, and I discuss how that might help other people. I'm a lot more happy, I'm confident, I've got better friendships, better relationships. I'm now in my second year of uni. So
Amazing.
I dropped out and I went back. So I'm studying psychology.
Are you? Oh, that's interesting.
Because I want to learn more about it and be able to help people ultimately.
Okay.
So I'm very passionate about it, and it's changed my life. So I think
Amazing.
I think everyone deserves to be happy, no matter what's wrong with you.
I agree with you.
Everyone deserves to and can be happy.
Brilliant. Katia, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's lovely speaking to you, and I love your attitude.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Well, everyone, now it's time for my own tips on how to be more positive. So these tips come courtesy of Psychology Today, but I'll be talking about a few experiences within these tips. So there were more actually listed, but I've picked the top 3, I would say. So the first one is to practice gratitude. So one of the quickest ways to actually shift your focus away from negativity, bad thoughts, judgments, disappointment, is to actually list the things in your life which you are grateful for. Now, we have spoken about this many times on the program, but it's really good to remind ourselves how important it is, because we can actually all fall back into this bad habit. So be grateful, for example, that you have a job, you have a bed to sleep in, be grateful for your family, and don't let little things irritate you or make you complain. Now, I remember a situation that the way I thought about it shifted my mood instantly. Now, normally when I go into a shop or restaurant, or I would say before, something that used to really irritate me was having to wait a long time for things. And I remember I'd just been to this really positive meeting where we spoke about gratitude and things like that. And I went to this shop, I think maybe a couple of days later, and I tried on a pair of shoes, and I was waiting for my size, and the assistant was taking ages to come back, and I started to get annoyed, I started to complain, and then immediately I remembered the meeting about gratitude, and I shifted my thinking straight away, and I said to myself, I can actually afford to buy this pair of shoes, and there's a lot of people that can't afford to buy these shoes. So immediately that shifted, and I wasn't moody anymore. It immediately put me into a more positive mood, and I was grateful that I was actually able to buy that pair of shoes rather than complaining that the assistant was taking so long to come back. She eventually did turn up with the shoes, which was great, but I'm saying, it's very easy to actually shift your way of thinking if you just remember to be more positive and to be grateful. So next time you find yourself maybe complaining about, I don't know, your partner or your child or something like that, just instead just think, be grateful that you have them in your life in the first place. And you can actually use this example for everything in your life. And actually another way that Psychology Today suggests about looking at things is the 2 positive technique. So whenever you find yourself thinking about your failures or maybe you're judging others, so you need to counter each negative thought with 2 positive ones. So it's kind of taking 2 steps forward after your 1 step back. And another thing to do is to, of course, smile. So this smiling actually tricks your mind into being more positive. And the simple act of smiling, even if you don't necessarily have anything to smile about, can change the way that you feel internally. And you can even smile at a coworker or someone that you walk past on the street, your pet, your dog. Just smile, because it does make a difference. Another thing that you need to do that Psychology Today suggests is to ditch the crabs. Now, I didn't know this, but if you put a crab into a bucket, it will very easily climb out of that bucket. But if you put a second crab into that bucket, guess what happens? Neither of them will actually escape, because once one starts to escape, the other will actually pull it back down into the bucket. So in other words, they're saying surround yourself with positive people. That is very, very important. It was actually mentioned on the program earlier. But if you say, Chrissy, I really do have a lot to complain about, my life is a complete mess, you do actually have a choice. You can decide the way you're going to look at the situation. You can either look at it and think to yourself, I'm going to give up, there's nothing to live for anymore, or you can look at it in a different way and say, okay, what's going on right now is not good in my life, but I make a decision right now to change the situation. I'm going to talk to the right people, I'm going to get help, and I will beat this problem. So, you really do have a choice in the matter. You don't just have to give up. There's always a more positive solution to things. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, Please do get in touch with us, or if you have any comments about this show or any of our previous episodes, which you can find on our YouTube channel, you can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about my mental health journey and how I overcame all my problems, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Moving on to one which is good to do with the owl.
We'll get there in a minute, guys. Sorry, just give us a moment. Yeah, go.
So it's to do with recycling.